When I was a kid, I would drive my guy Froggy around in this 1989 911 Porsche convertible. I've wanted a Porsche ever since. I finally got one. My dream narrowed in on a 986.2 Boxster, a very attainable goal. I flirted with buying one for years, but was afraid I'd buy it and it would break. Mine immediately did, but more on that later. It's fixed now, it's back home, and it's awesome. Welcome back to Every Other Carl. I'm Carl, and this is my 2003 Porsche Boxster. I know this might not be the most interesting car to a lot of people, but I happen to have wanted one since I was a kid. It's been a dream of mine. It's not the most expensive car. It's not the fastest straight line car. This car has just caught my imagination for years. And a lot of people who know me know that I have been eyeing these on marketplace for at least the past 8 to 10 years. I got an amazing deal on this car. It has a bunch of little things that need to be fixed, so I'm sure I'm gonna make a bunch of videos doing little projects on it here and there, but nothing major. It's a great running and driving Boxster, and within the past 500 miles of driving, it's had the IMS bearing replaced, it's had a new clutch installed, a new flywheel, it had the CV joint replaced. Within the past year, the previous owner put a new roof on it, a new ignition switch. It's had a lot of expensive work done to it, and I'm just lucky to be the recipient of all that work. Let me take you for a spin. If you're watching this, there's a decent chance that you already know something about the Boxster. God knows I watched a ton of Boxster videos on YouTube before I bought one. But in case you're interested, I'll give you a little background on this beautiful machine. The Boxster went on sale in 1996 and single-handedly saved the Porsche company. They'd been suffering financially, but this lower-priced model sold so well that it brought them back to life. The Boxster is a roadster, meaning it's a two-seater convertible sports car. It has a boxer engine, where the pistons move horizontally instead of up and down. Boxer engine plus roadster car, Boxster. That's where the name comes from. A boxer engine naturally has a low center of gravity, and Porsche put this one behind the driver and in front of the rear axle, making it a mid-engine car. Low center of gravity engine in the middle of a car means the Boxster is known for incredible handling. I hate to sound like everyone else who talks about their Boxster, but it really does feel like it's on rails through the curves. 1996 to 2002, that was the 986.1 Boxster. 2003, my year, that's the 986.2. The Boxster got some nice upgrades this year. Cooler looking lights all around, a new bumper and new front grille, glass convertible window, and more horsepower for both the base model, which is what I have, and the S model. My base puts 222 horsepower out of its 2.7-liter flat six. The S would put out 258 horsepower. If you look up the Boxster online, you will undoubtedly come across something called the IMS Bearing failure within the first few minutes of searching. A small percentage of these cars have had their engines completely destroyed by the failure of this little bearing. It's a known issue, and it scares a lot of people away from buying them. But the issue is blown way out of proportion, and there are preventative measures that can be taken to make sure your IMS bearing doesn't give out. My car has 130,000 miles on it. That's high. But believe it or not, the closer a Boxster is to 100,000 miles, the better the chances generally are that the IMS bearing won't fail. Also, you can replace the bearing before it has a chance to go bad. Fortunately for me, the previous owner did that before I bought it. He also replaced the rear main seal, another known issue, the clutch, the flywheel, and some other things while he was at it. Surprisingly, all this repair work actually brings us to why my car immediately broke the day I bought it. Let's go back to day one, and I'll explain that fiasco. Here we are, day one. I took a test drive with the owner and did a thorough inspection before handing him the cash. By the way, maybe you're curious how much I paid for this beauty? $7,000. Awesome price. I negotiated down to that price. He initially wanted a couple grand more, but he was a great guy and willing to work with me. Anyway, I bought it, and now I'm driving around a parking lot trying to get familiar with not just this specific manual transmission, but manuals in general. I actually hadn't driven one in over 10 years. And 10 years ago, I drove one for 30 minutes. I'm not sure where my confidence came from this day, but after practicing for a long time in the parking lot and my incredible wife waiting patiently and being supportive, I was ready for the 2-hour drive home. This is my beautiful Porsche Boxster 2003. Unfortunately, I just picked it up, drove about 60 miles. Something clunked. I was in 5th gear. Something just clunked as I was driving. And then I came to a stop at the next intersection and the clutch just wouldn't engage. There was nothing. It's like it was permanently in neutral. I don't know what it is. Fortunately, a lot of work was just done to it. Flywheel, clutch, IMS bearing, whole bunch of stuff. And it is still under warranty, fingers crossed. So I'm getting it towed back to the shop that did all that work. Hopefully this thing gets fixed. It's pretty though. Just sitting here at an abandoned gas station. Tow truck's here. Godspeed, Boxster. At this point, I had very little idea of what could be wrong, and I was pretty worried that I just blew $7 grand. Fortunately for me, it was under warranty. I'll explain a little more in a minute. All right, it's been a little bit over a week since the car broke down. I bought it on Sunday of last week. It is now Monday, so 8 days later. And it's getting towed here because where I bought it was about 2 hours away from where I live. And it was just hard to get back down there. So it is gonna be delivered any minute now. I'm like jittery with excitement, but can't wait to see it pull into the driveway. So the issue ended up being a blown CV joint. If you have a Boxster, maybe this will be helpful for you someday. What I experienced while I was driving down the road was a loud, rapid clattering in the rear driver's side wheel well. I was coming up to an intersection and just shifted into neutral and stopped, thinking maybe a rock had gotten flung up into the wheel well and gotten knocked around violently. When I went to shift into gear, it felt like nothing engaged. In reality, the clutch actually did engage and was spinning the drivetrain, but the bolts that hold the CV joint in place had come out or had broken out, and even though things were spinning, no power could get to the wheels. It turned out that the shop that had done all the recent work said they probably hadn't torqued those bolts down to spec after they had removed and reinstalled them. So they replaced them, free of charge, and the car has driven fine since I got it back. All right, it's the next day. The Boxster is nice and clean. It really feels like mine now that I cleaned it. There's going to be a bunch of little projects on here, some that I already know off the bat. The roof needs to be adjusted. The driver's side window regulator, the window I think goes down a little bit too far anyway. I have to fiddle with that. A few other things. I think there's a bushing on the suspension that might need a little bit of work. I might need to change the air oil separator. Anyway, bunch of little things to come. But this is just, it's kind of a dream come true for me right now. And I'm going to enjoy it for as long as I can and hopefully take you along for the ride. So anyway, lots to come on the channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I'm Every Other Carl, and I'll see ya.